All right, so what I want to do to get started is I want to give you a couple of minutes just to introduce who you are and just a couple of fast facts about you and your experience and your background, and then we'll get into the questions. So if you would, if you're okay with that. So if you would, Ms. Tucker, tell us about yourself.
All right, I am Judge Amy Tucker, and I'm the judge for County Court at Law number 3. County Court at Law 3 is one of the 3 specialized family courts in Montgomery County, and it's actually a highly specialized child protection court, which means we are the designated court for all of the cases filed by CPS, and we are responsible for all of the court cases involving foster children in the county. I do have a long history and background with these types of cases. I started out with the county attorney's office, soon after law school, and worked in their child welfare division as an attorney for 11 years. And then I was appointed as the associate judge for this court on December 1st of 2012. And I have been a judge of this court since that time as an associate judge and then as a presiding on July 1st. And I am very excited about having the Child Protection Court in County Court at Law 3. I led the charge in trying to make a home for these cases. I think they're very important. And I am the first judge in the history of the county to specifically request all of these cases. They're very difficult. They can be heart-wrenching, but I am one of a tiny percentage of licensed attorneys in the state who is double board certified in the 2 specialty areas of this court, family law and child welfare law. And I believe I just have the passion and the heart and the experience to handle these cases in the best way possible.
So just to give some explanation to people who may not be familiar, what's the biggest difference between a traditional family law case and a CPS case?
So a traditional family law case is generally what we refer to as private cases. Private citizens file like a suit for divorce, a suit for custody, adoptions. We also handle family violence protective orders, enforcements of other orders, and a CPS case is a case in which CPS has filed suit, either to remove a child or children from a home or to ask that parents participate in services to eliminate the need to remove the child or children from the home.
Mm-hmm. So in CPS cases, especially in reunification efforts, can be lengthy cases. So how would you reduce, and they can take a large toll on all parties involved. Mm-hmm. What is your goal with the CPS case, and what can you do to help shorten the amount of time and ease the difficulties that are already being people are going through?
Well, I want to say that philosophically, I believe in small government. All right. So I believe that I am there to ensure that the state is intervening in the lives of families only when absolutely necessary. And a question that I do often ask is, what is the state's interest in this case? Can this be solved by the family? Do we actually need CPS intervention? So every step of the way, I am trying to get CPS out of the case as quickly as possible. That's my goal. Now, there are some cases that take longer than others, but I am constantly looking at the case from the standpoint of how do we get this family in a position where they don't need us or CPS in their lives anymore. Does that answer your question?
Yes. Okay. So the next thing I want to know is, why did you push to bring all of the CPS cases under your court?
Because I am the only expert at this level in the county, and I probably am in one of the, I guess, upper percentages of licensed attorneys in the state who has the qualifications, the experience, and the passion for these cases. This is a very difficult area of the law. It's highly technical. So statistically, across the state of Texas, there just aren't a lot of experts. And these cases had been moved through several judges, and they had been in the court of a visiting judge for many, many years. And I just felt like they needed a permanent home with a judge whose main focus was on the foster children, who cared about them, understood the challenges that they were facing from 20 years of experience. And that's really the reason. I just felt like I was the only one who was qualified to do it, and frankly, the only one who wanted to do it.
Mhm. Now, the pandemic has had a very negative effect on these family and CPS cases. What are the big effects that you've seen, and are they still ongoing?
Well, the biggest effect at the beginning, in my opinion, was the inability for CPS to facilitate in-person visitations for the parents. And that was extraordinarily troubling for me. We removed that barrier as quickly as we could because I just felt like that was unacceptable. Another barrier has been at the beginning, we're a little bit down the road, but at the beginning, having jury trials was an impossibility. So we weren't able to have the jury trials as timely as I wanted to. Now, with that said, since June, I have been working tirelessly through jury trials to reduce that backlog, and we're doing a really good job of that. Obviously, it was a challenge in just having court hearings because we were doing them by Zoom. There are some benefits to having Zoom, but I much prefer to see people in my court so I can get a better read with human interaction and demeanor and how people are feeling in any given case.
Mm-hmm. Now, over the years, and once again, very recently, CPS has come under fire of issues where children are taken out of one dangerous situation, only to be put in another. What can you do as a judge to provide oversight to those kinds of situations and ensure that these children are being given the safety and security that they need?
Well, the unfortunate reality right now is that sometimes these children actually need protection from CPS itself. That's a sad thing to say, but it is the truth right now. And we have had cases where I have been totally dissatisfied with the care that a foster child is getting in CPS. And I am constantly looking for relative placements. And sometimes if I find that CPS care is a lower standard than what they were receiving in the home from which they were removed, I return the child, period. But I will tell you something that I think is a positive. In my first year handling all of the CPS cases for the county, I increased our relative placements for foster children to over 75%, which is a huge number statewide. So I'm very proud of that.
Mm-hmm. Now, these family cases and CPS cases can not only take a toll on the people involved, they can take a toll on you as the judge as well. So how do you cope with that when you go home at the end of the day and be able to refresh yourself So the next day when you have to go into court again, you're ready to take that on?
I'm going to tell you honestly, that is one of the best questions anyone has asked me so far. And I honestly appreciate that question. It's a good one because there are hard days. There are days when I feel like I've lost faith in humanity. And I have children, and it's hard not to think about my own children when I'm hearing about some of the trauma that our foster kids have been through. Mm-hmm. And you have to be able to listen to the case and make the best decision you can. And you have to try not to carry the negative with you and rely on the great things you see. When you see children come into care in a state of anger and resentment and sadness, and they're placed in a home, maybe with their grandmother or an aunt or an uncle, and in 3 or 4 months, that child has light in their eyes. They're happy. They're playing soccer, and they're living, their best life. So those are the things I rely on.
So you have been the judge of this court for officially 1.5 years now, I believe.
The presiding judge, I've
Yes.
been the presiding judge since July 1st of 2021.
Okay, so almost a year you've been the official presiding judge. So what were the day one changes that you made whenever you officially took over the court?
Well, the first order of business was to appoint an associate judge. And I was committed to finding an associate judge who was not only incredibly qualified, but one who had compassion and integrity for the families in our court. And I was very fortunate to have found that in Judge Jack Riley. He's been a family law attorney for 27 years and board certified in family law for 15 years. And he also has a heart for our foster children. So that was my first order of business. I then started looking at our caseload to make sure that we were running at optimum efficiency. I have met monthly with the administrative judge, Judge Tracy Gilbert, who's actually the tenured other family court judge, to make sure that between the 3 family courts, we are all running at 100% or over disposition rates to make sure that all of the county's family cases are being heard in an efficient manner. I also lowered our budget. I removed a staff position off the budget and asked my staff if we could get along without it. I don't know that they were happy about that, but I just think it's important to consider that as a public official. And the most exciting thing that I am doing is becoming trained and having my associate judge trained in TBRI, which is the most world-renowned, well-respected methodology for treating traumatized children. Mm-hmm. And by the end of April, we will both have been through a fairly rigorous process to become certified in TBRI, when we will be 2 of only 5 judges in the state of Texas that can say that. Mm-hmm. So not only will we be able to use that to make better decisions, but we'll be able to train people in it as well. So that is the most exciting thing that we're doing.
Mm-hmm. All right. Is there anything else you would like to tell people about your campaign, your experience, or the court?
Well, I think the bottom line is that this race is about qualifications, experience, and passion. And I have all 3 of those for the specialty area of this court. I have worked tirelessly for these cases for over 2 decades. And I really think if you were to ask anyone around the courthouse, CASA, attorneys, anyone in this area of the law or in family law, period, they would all agree that I'm the one person who has stayed with these cases as many years as I have. And they're in my heart. And I really believe that if I continue in this position, that we will be able to make a real difference in this county for our foster children.
Right. Thank you very much, Judge Tucker, for taking this time today to speak with me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Mhm.